Hi guys, evening. Thank you so much for making the time to attend this class. As you guys know, today we'll be doing a case study for technicians. Ne? So previously I did 2 case studies, and these 2 case studies were actually PRNG. Also guys, just confirm for me that volume is 100% perfect on your side. Okay, so I know why I shouldn't have used this machine. Oh my God, I know why I shouldn't have used this machine, because it doesn't have space. Excuse for that. Yeah, this machine doesn't have space. So the recording is going to get lost. Oh, I don't know what to do now. Okay, so I think it's too late for me to stress right now. Let me leave it. I'm just admitting, guys. So for those who normally come to my classes, they'll see that today I'm trying a very neutral lip. It's not working. I don't like it. Oh my God. Anyways, so as I was still saying before, I realized that the reason why I don't use this machine is because this machine doesn't have space. So it means I won't be able to record this class because there's no space on this drive. Anyways, let us move on. Guys, so today we are doing a case study for a technician, and we are doing civil engineer. So previously, also for some odd reason, all the people who actually volunteer for these classes happen to be civil. So I don't really know why. I think also I've come to understand that civil is the most dominating discipline of all of these disciplines. So if we look at all the disciplines, civil is like majority, and then it's followed by electrical, and then I think followed by mechanical, I'm not sure. Anyways, so today's program is going to be a little bit interesting. If we do have Unjabulo online, I just want to check. Okay, I just want to check from everybody who's in attendance, did you guys get the case study? Because I did share the document with everyone. Can I just get some sort of confirmation by show of hands? Guys, did you read the document? Did you?
Yes,
Lovely. Okay, let's see. Okay, I see iPhone also read it. Guys, can I just check? Because it does make a difference on the flow of the class. I just want to see, guys, did you read the document or not?
I just got the invite not so long, and I'm from work, so I didn't get a chance to read the document. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, so because let me just explain something small. So really these classes don't really work well if you obviously haven't seen the document and you haven't read it to, because let me explain what happens in the case studies. So in the case studies, I take the document and we share it with the team, and then you guys go back, you read it. I mean, we shared this document, I think about 4 weeks ago. So what's supposed to happen is that you are supposed to take this document, read it, right? And then you are supposed to make comments. So in other words, you are going to review it as if you were me. You review the document as if you were Label, and then you say what has been done correct, what has been done wrong. It really works much better if you've read the document, because if I now go and give you feedback on my review and really you haven't seen the document, you see, it sort of defeats the purpose. But that's fine. I just want to check if we have Njabulo online, because I know Njabulo said that he was in an area that's got not so like a network. Sorry guys, just give me a moment. I just wanted to check if Njabulo is online. Oh. Okay, I see Njabulo, but I'm not sure if this is the right Njabulo. Njabulo, is that you? Njabulo? Because I do see Njabulo in the group, but I'm not sure if it's the Njabulo with the case study. Njabulo, is that you? I think you are muted, Njabulo. Just unmute yourself first.
I can be Njabulo.
No, not you. I can see Njabulo. So his video is on, but I think he's struggling to. Okay, he is unmuted. Njabulo, can you hear me? Oh, that's not Njabulo. That's Mbuso. But here's Njabulo here. Njabulo? Okay, I think Njabulo can't hear me.
Yeah, but
Njabulo, is that you? Okay, that's Mbuso. Mbuso. Yeah, no, wait. I was actually trying to find Njabulo because he is the owner of the case study. Okay, I'm going to try it one last time. Njabulo, are you online? Because I do see Njabulo, but it looks like he's, for some odd reason. Yeah, it doesn't look like Njabulo is. Okay, guys, it's fine. Okay, so what was supposed to happen today, ne? I had asked Njabulo, who's like the candidate who volunteered his case study. I had asked Njabulo to kindly make a presentation of the lessons learned from the review that I did, because I sent him the report maybe like as soon as I finished it, maybe like a week ago. So I asked him to read it and then please make some lessons learned. And then I wanted really for him to share those lessons with us before I share the lessons, because really the lesson doesn't stick, if somebody just tells you. You really need to read the document, internalize it the way you understand it, and then post that. You can then, go ahead and say, like the same way we've done the previous case studies. But I can see that Njabulo is actually unmuted, but for some odd reason, I can see that we can't hear him. So I think there's something wrong with the network. So let's just carry on with the class. I'm going to really to now take some time to really explain how do we do these classes, because I don't want to take for granted that everybody who's in the class is well versed with really what happens in the classes. So what really happens here, guys, is that normally we have a candidate who volunteers for his report to be used as a case study. Ne? And then what happens post that, I just want to close this because this is for admitting people. So then what happens, okay, so I see there are people who are still entering. Ooh, this is going to inconvenience me. Close this. Okay. So guys, let me just explain for those who are new, because I don't want to take for granted that everybody previously attended the master classes that we had during lockdown. So what we do is that we take a candidate's report. So obviously what needs to happen from my side is I need to really get permission. I need to get permission from a particular individual that I can use their report. And then if they give me a go ahead, then we use the report as a case study. Ne? So it is very important. Okay, I see people, there are people in the waiting room. I don't know why I don't see them. Okay, so what is important for us to understand is that this case study that we are doing, it may be civil. Okay, it is technician in terms of category and it is civil in terms of discipline. I want to urge all of you to not worry about that, because the 11 outcomes are the same for all categories and all disciplines. So the lessons that are to be learned in the class, they are applicable to whichever category and whichever discipline you are in. So now that we do have two, I think I got confirmation from two individuals that have received the report. Ne? Before I put up my presentation, I just wanted to hear from those candidates. When you read the report, what was your sort of feeling about it? What is it? Was it an okay report? Was it an excellent report? Was it a marginal report? Those two individuals, I can't remember who it was. Can you just unmute yourself and maybe just give a brief comment? The reason I ask for that is because once we go through my review, then it makes better sense in terms of what it is that you are supposed to take in terms of lessons learned. It's not going to be beneficial if I just share. Do you want to share, guys, the people that got the report? Do you maybe want to share your observations and your findings from the report? Okay, it looks like you guys are not keen to share. That's not a problem. So I'm going to now share my screen because what I did do is, yeah, because I'd asked actually Njabulo to prepare a presentation of the lessons learned, but I think because of his work commitment, he actually couldn't do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and what I will be sharing there is the presentation that is going to give you core do's and don'ts that you should be doing. Okay, so I call them the golden rules. It's the golden rules in terms of writing the engineering report. And then secondly, I'm going to probably tell you with regards to the case study that we are doing today, what are the things that the candidate has not covered? Another thing that I forgot to say at this point is that for everybody who is in the class, may you kindly go to the chat and drop your email there. Because what I'm going to do, I will share the case study that I've reviewed with everybody who is in class. And then I'm going to also email the presentation. But this is only going to go to people who are in class. I'm just reading your comments here. Okay, so people are saying they didn't receive the document. So that means you guys are not in the WhatsApp group, ne? Okay, so I see somebody says they're in the Telegram group. Yeah, that group, I struggle with Telegram because I don't really, yeah, I'm not a user of Telegram. So unless somebody actually sends me a message, I'll never see Telegram. So Njabula is offering to help. I can hear you. I'm trying to set up my mic. Okay, so Njabula is here. He's trying to set up his mic. That's okay. So I see you guys are dropping the emails. Yes, please drop the emails because post this class. Let me also explain this. So post this class, guys. I'm going to send you the case study. Ne? I'm going to send you the original report that the candidate gave me. And I'm going to send you the report that I have reviewed. Now, what I want you to do from your side, please read the original report before you look at the report that I've reviewed. It's very important that you as an individual have some opinion about the report, you know. I think it is a great report. What I've learned from the report is the following. It is very important for you to form some opinion about the report before you look at my review. The reason I insist on that is because if you are learning a lesson, if the lesson is not learned through practice, it's not going to stay with you. So do yourself a favor and rather read the report. So Njabula is here, and since he's struggling with the mic, I'm going to share my screen. What I want to do, and also Njabulo, by the way, because you haven't sent me the reports, maybe email me the report so that by the time you are sorted with your mic, you can then, I will display the report for you and you can just present. All right, so I just need to find, yeah, I don't know why this thing is doing this. You know, this laptop, I'm not used to using it. Yeah, it's giving me grief now. Because I need to display my screen. I'm trying to display my screen using laptops that are not. Okay, there it is. I see it now. Share screen. There we go. All right, now we are going to officially start the class. Can I just get confirmation from that side that you guys can see the screen? Because I wouldn't want to carry on and then just to realize, okay, I see there's people in the waiting room. So let me just admit them quickly. Okay, there we go. All right, guys, there's just like 4 more people to go and then we can start the class. Admit all. All right. Guys, can I just get confirmation on the chat here that you guys can see the screen? Because at this point, I can't. Okay, there, I see a message coming in. Let me just see what is that. Okay, you see it. Perfect. So I just got confirmation that you can see the screen. Lovely. So let's just start the class. And then this thing is echoing now. I don't even know how to do, oh, using this laptop is really not a great idea, you know. Oh, God. This is upsetting me now because it's taking me so much time to get sorted. I'm fighting, but yo. Okay, there we go. So I finally come to the screen that I want to get to. Okay, guys, we're going to start the class now. Okay, I see one person is just stuck in the waiting room. I'm not really sure why. It's fine. It's going to sort itself out at some point, hopefully. Okay, guys, welcome. So I think first and foremost, I just wanted to say that these case studies and all these classes that we are really viewing and getting support from in terms of your registration journey, these classes are brought to you by Inspire. Can somebody mute their mic? There's somebody who's talking in the background and it's interfering with the class. Okay, guys, please mute your mics.
And then I got it there, but then I was like,
Oh, now I'm asking guys to mute their mics, but they're not doing so. Okay, guys, I think everybody's muted now because I tried to mute everyone. All right, so let's just say, so these classes are brought to you by Inspire the Next movement, guys, and I'm the president of Inspire the Next. And really what I do with these classes are, and I mean, my key goal is just to transform the stats. If you look at the statistics, it's very disturbing to see how many candidates are still stuck at the candidacy stage. It's not necessary because, honestly speaking, the requirements are clearly defined, but I am coming to understand that candidates do not find these documents easy to read. That is the feedback that is coming from the candidates. So what I do in these classes is I really try to break it down into simple English, you know, what is required. So what you can do is please go on your phone and type, go to YouTube and type Inspire the Next Movement. The YouTube channel is going to pop up. And what you are going to find there is classes that I've been hosting during lockdown. I want to tell you guys that those classes were very, 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 very progressive. There's about 20 people that have just got registered just from viewing those YouTube channels. It's not even people that I mentored. So if you go to that YouTube channel, you're going to find several topics that we've covered. Two of them is case studies in PRNG civil, and then there's a class on research, there's a class on benefits of registering, there's a class on how to write your engineering report. Guys, I want to urge you, please, if you are not sure after you've written your engineering report, please contact me. You don't want to be this person who gets declined, because decline is a traumatic process. So I'm going to move away. But before I move away, guys, please subscribe. Go to YouTube and type in Inspire the Next Movement, and then just click on subscribe, because what happens is with every class that I host, I go and share the videos there. So also hit on the bell so that if there's new content, you can at least get a notification that the material has loaded. Then I'm always saying this to anybody who attends my class, because this is very important in engineering. So in engineering, we know of this concept called CPD, right? Everything you attend needs to be CPD accredited. And really with this slide, what I'm saying and what I'm encouraging you guys to do in any class or any course that you attend is please get to know who is your presenter. You need to know, are they accredited? Are they knowledgeable to give you training in that particular topic? So this slide here just tells you a little bit about me. And for those who don't already know me, okay, so this thing of admitting people is going to be a huge thing. Yeah, Luando, thank you for subscribing. I see you, I recognize you. I appreciate you so much. So what I want to say to you guys is that CPD is really a big deal. And there's this problem in industry where people pay big monies to go attend some particular course. And when they get there, they realize that the person who's presenting the course actually probably doesn't know much about the course. So make sure whenever you go attend a CPD accredited course specifically, get to know who the presenter is. You need to see that CV. This CV is a little bit about me. So by discipline, I'm electrical. By category, I am PRNG, and I actually work with power lines. I'm an employee of ESCOM. And that's it. That is to be the more crucial slide for you guys is just to observe my contribution to industry, because you're probably feeling like, why is this lady taking her time giving us these classes? Really, why? The reason for this, guys, is because I've been really busy with this mentorship and with registration since 2009. And as you can see, already back in 2009, I was a reviewer, a mentor, and an interviewer. And then I became a member of the Professional Advisory Committee. In the legacy system, it used to be called that. In the new registration system, we don't have those committees anymore. So in 2012, I became a council member. In 2014, I was nominated to be vice chair of the PAC for electrical. So obviously each committee, as you can imagine, is going to go by category. So if you are registered as a civil technician and you go and volunteer yourself at ECSA, you are obviously going to review reports for people who are technician and in civil, right? In 2016, I became a second, I became a member of council for the second term. And because I was really a chairperson of a high impact committee, I'm also a member of EXCO at EXA. And then obviously I'm a member of Central Registration Committee. This is where all the reports actually are tabled, right? And then I think you can see there, 2017, I was the chairperson of the Policy Development and Standard Generating Committee. This was really one of my proudest work here, because in this committee, like all the gurus sit, because that's where the policies are actually developed. And then at the moment, guys, I'm the chairperson of the Stakeholder Relations Committee. So, and really about me is I'm very passionate about helping you guys get registered, because I can tell you now that, okay, the problem that we have in industry is that a lot of people don't have access to mentors. And then the second problem, obviously, is that they don't have access to mentors who actually know about registration. So it's a double thing. You know, sometimes you have a mentor, but the mentor got registered in the legacy system. So this mentor is really not efficient, actually, because the legacy system is no longer actually in process at the moment. In 2017, the new registration system was commissioned. So really, when you have a mentor, what I encourage you guys to do is to download the mentor guideline and send it to your mentor, just for them to understand what the new requirements are. Because sometimes they're going to throw you off the curveball, while they are still going to give you guidelines according to the old standards. And really, that's not how the thing is working at the moment. This slide here, probably if you watch my YouTube videos, you will see that this slide is in every video. And the reason why I put this slide is that I don't take for granted that everybody who is in class has attended my master's classes. Guys, let me just at this point pause and say, I see, guys, please go and subscribe there. You will thank yourself later. You won't thank me. I got registered in 2008. So really, you're going to thank yourself. So what I wanted to say is, you know, ideally speaking, you know, when I started this project of transforming the stats or helping candidates to really get their registration, especially for those people who have done the work, but now obviously writing the report is a challenge, right? I have hosted master classes. The one master class is the A to Z of what is required, including the jargon of how the jargon that you should be using when you write this report. The second master class is on obviously interviews, because one of the problems I then observed was that people were passing the experience appraisal and then started failing at the PR. That should not be happening, because your engineering report is the same thing that gets probed at the PR. Okay, let's leave it there. If you do have a challenge with understanding what is required, please contact me, drop me a WhatsApp, and tell me where you are stuck, and then we will see how we can resolve that. So the reason why I have this slide is because I am saying, I don't want to take for granted that everybody on this platform has attended the masterclass and knows exactly what is required by ECSA. So if you are really new to what is required to be registered, I want you to just take this snapshot in your head and understand that when you write your report, there is 11 outcomes that you are supposed to be covering in your report. And what really needs to happen, and this is very important, ladies and gentlemen, Whatever you write in your report, it has to address some outcome. So we're no longer in a legacy system where we just write random. In the new registration system, everything that you write in that report has to address some outcome. Now, I need to explain this because this is also very important. Now, when you are writing the outcomes, what you need to be understanding is that ECSA groups the outcomes according to similar activities. So you can see Group A is engineering problem solving, Group B is managing engineering activities, Group C is impact of engineering activities, Group D is acting ethically and exercising sound engineering judgment and taking responsibility. Group E is initial professional development. I want to say, depending on which category you are in, guys, please understand that writing these outcomes doesn't necessarily have to come in this sequence, especially if you are in the PR range category. So I also will try and address this document that I created when I started this project. And really what that document does is it shows the 11 outcomes, the way ECSA has actually put them in terms of sequence. And then there's a sequence that is, I call it the Malebza sequence. That sequence literally tells you how we in real life solve engineering problems, you know? So I want you guys to like really go look at that sequence. But the good thing for technicians and technologists, they don't have the stress of wondering about how to write it, which outcome to cover first, which one second, because the technician and the technologist template is predefined. They ask you clearly defined questions and then you need to go fill in the answer. If you are PR range, there is no guideline where they ask you for outcome one, tell us this and that. No, they don't do that for PR range. So for PR range, it is very possible that you can write a paragraph. That paragraph, in one paragraph, you can address outcome 1, outcome 9, and outcome 7, and outcome 3, all in one paragraph. It is very easy to do. So go and look at those 2 case studies. Okay, let me just start here. Also, I want to say this to you guys. As we all know, the outcomes are the same for all categories and all disciplines, right? So the thing that is different is the level descriptor. The level descriptor says, if you are PR range, you solve complex engineering problems. If you are a technician, you solve clearly defined problems. If you are a technologist, you solve broadly defined problems. What I want to urge you guys to do is don't limit yourself according to that. Even if you are a technician, try and write your report according to the standard of a professional engineer. The reason for this is because anyways, even if you are in industry and you have to write that report for your client, the client doesn't care whether you're technician or technologist, isn't it? Whether you're engineer. The report still needs to communicate the same findings, the same whatever. So try and still write to that standard because it will, what it does help with is showing off this outcome 9. Outcome 9 is one of the core reasons why a lot of people are failing, exercising sound engineering judgment, right? So if you do look at those case studies and you look at how those candidates have written their reports, it's going to sort of help you with how do you show off the sound engineering judgment when you are writing your work. So don't define yourself to this thing of clearly defined work, because what you will do there, you might just start writing it very simple. So I'm going to not talk too much about this slide. What I want you guys to observe in this slide is the 5 groups. Ne? And then I also want you to observe the fact that if you do get put in abeyance, or if you are somebody who does fail, it's going to be because of group A and D. Guys, it's going to be because of group A and D. There are individuals who have been in my coaching groups, because I do have 2 groups on WhatsApp. On those groups, whatever challenge you have, I do coach free. So if you ask a question on the group, I'm going to answer it because I know that this benefits another. I mean, at the moment, I think both those groups are full. I think they both have 257 individuals. I'm not sure, I'll check, you know. But so on those groups, what happens is like somebody's going to have some particular problem when we discuss this problem, it helps 256 other individuals. What I do not do, and please do not do this, don't send me a WhatsApp on private asking me questions. You must ask them on the group. If I am coaching you, meaning to say you've sent me your engineering report, I'm reviewing it. Now in this case, I'm playing the role of what, being like a virtual mentor who's helping you with how to write and what to write. Then you can obviously private message me. Guys, I don't want to go into detail about this because we can talk a whole day. I mean, my masterclass is 9 hours long, so there's a lot to be said about these outcomes. And what I want to just say to you guys is, like, normally when candidates read the reports, there's standards. The standards address the different categories, and then there's discipline-specific guidelines. These address the different disciplines. So what you should be doing is go and download the standard for your category and download the discipline-specific guideline for your discipline. That thing is going to help you a lot. However, the feedback that I'm receiving from candidates is the following. They say when they read these outcomes, they don't really understand what does ECSA want. I must be honest. I mean, obviously, because I think I am registered, and I got registered in 2008. And I think I did it the difficult way, where I had to read the document and really interpret it and understand it properly without anybody holding my hand. When I read them, I obviously think that they are very clear, they're very straightforward, but the feedback that's coming from candidates is that they are not clear. So I hear you guys, and that's why really we have these classes, because we want to sort of help you understand what is it that is wanted here. The last point that I want to say about the 11 outcomes is, please guys, pay attention to this. It's very important that you pay attention to the following. In the legacy system, there tend to be a lot of focus on solving engineering. It was focused on projects. It was like, talk about projects you have done, projects you've been involved in, and as a result, people said, I can't register because I haven't actually done no project. In the new registration system, guys, it is no longer that way. In the new registration system, we are talking about solving engineering problems. So even if you are somebody who works on a site, because I know there are these people who say, I work on site, even if you work on site, there is some engineering problem that needs to be solved daily. I never saw a design that goes exactly the way it was intended. So guys, the new registration system asks that you solve an engineering problem, right? And I want to give you just this one tip. How you know a problem is engineering or not engineering, it will need you to apply some fundamentals that you studied from university. If it is a problem that you can solve without opening a book, without applying some calculations, without using some software, obviously you are understanding that it is not an engineering problem. The second part that I want you guys to take home today when it comes to the 11 outcomes is the new registration system is about managing engineering activities, guys. There's nothing about projects. A lot of people are understanding the outcome to say, as an individual, you must manage a project. This is a myth. Project management is a profession on its own. What ECSA needs you to do is to manage some engineering activity. Please understand it to be that. It's an activity. We are still going to have a session. If you want to ask a question and clarify something, that's fine. But for now, what I want you to understand, these are the 11 outcomes, and everything you write in the report has to address some outcome. You don't have the luxury of writing, let's say, for example, you are somebody who's been working for 6 years, or you are somebody who's been working, for example, 10 years, 15 years. I mean, we can all agree that it is just not physically possible for you to write everything you've done in the 6 years down. So the goal here is to write information that addresses the outcomes. Now, before I even move off here, I want to briefly explain what is the difference between a TER and an engineering report. So the TER is a training and experience report. The ER is an engineering report. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand that a TER is evidence of how you built your competence. The engineering report is evidence of your competence. I want to just use an example because obviously things tend to stick if we do really use an example. So let me use an example. So in your TR, you are going to tell the assessor, and assessor is the person who's going to be reading your report at ECSA. In the TR, you are going to be telling the assessor that at some point, somebody taught me how to compile a tender document for a project in my area of discipline, area of competence. Guys, I think everybody knows what area of competence means. It's an area of practice. You work with a particular something. As an example, I work with power lines, so my area of competence is high voltage power lines, right? So now in a TR, for example, you are going to tell the reader, at this point, somebody taught me how to compile a tender. Somebody told me how to evaluate and adjudicate a tender. Sharp. In the engineering report, you are now knowing how to compile a tender. You are now knowing how to evaluate a tender. So in the engineering report, then you are telling the reader when you actually did that specific function. So guys, I think you see the difference. Now, obviously, because TRs cover your whole training, what you normally find is that in one discipline, you are learning some skill, and then in that same TR, you are competent in some other outcome. Next TR, you are learning an outcome, in another outcome, you are competent. So obviously the TRs, you need to write them exactly as your training happened. I'm going to leave it there because a lot of people, okay, I see, go for it on Ogni. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Go for it, Ogni, yes. I think I forgot to say to the guys, if you do have a question, please do just raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask. Because it's important that when we go forward, we have some common understanding. Go for it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can.
All right, thanks. Last I checked on the other class you had there, you said when writing the engineering report, it's very important that you relate it to yourself, like rather than your supervisors and mentors. Like it's all about you.
Yes.
And then on the and on the TR. So I want to ask, so on the other report, can I, like you're saying, it's more like proof of how you came about your competence. So can I refer to them in most cases, or is it just only some portions here and there, or can I, for the whole process, include those guys that guided me through the whole process?
Yes.
But then, okay.
Yeah, so what happens, ne? In the TRs, that's where you say, my supervisor taught me the following. But when you have become competent, because competent means you are responsible for the work, you see. So it is not correct. So you must understand that the engineering report is evidence. Because remember, when you are wanting to be PR, what you are saying to ECSA is that I am competent. I have the ability to run this with these following things without being supervised. And that's what you are saying. So in the engineering report, when you write, you cannot be somebody who is supervised. So my guidance, obviously, if you look at my classes, you need to understand that we are talking about the engineering report. And I always say to people that the engineering report is like your portfolio. It's the one that tells the assessor about your competence, right? So that's why my focus is more on writing how to write the engineering report and not so much the TR. Because what the TR does, it just tells the reader, how did you acquire the skill? So I think, are you happy?
Very clear, yes, thanks.
Yeah, so in your TR, you very well say, my supervisor showed me, my supervisor explained, but once you come to the engineering report, you are then saying, I'm ready to register, and then you are giving the reader evidence of why you deem yourself competent. I think we had another hand. I'm just going to try and see if I can find that hand. Oh, we had, yeah, Siyabonga. Go for it, Siyabonga.
Hi everyone, it's Njabulo. How are you?
Oh, it's Njabulo. Oh, welcome, yes. Sir. I'm so happy you are here because it's going to add so much more value when you.
No, it's another Njabulo.
Oh, another Njabulo. Not the case that. Oh, yes. God, I got excited quickly. All right, go for it, Njabulo.
Yeah, I have a question here. If for a referee,
yes,
your mentor or your manager has been cancelled. I don't know what happened with ESCOM, did not pay, something like that. So he got cancelled now.
Yeah.
Can that person still be a referee?
Of course, they can. So what you need to understand with that particular requirement is that normally for per category, please go look at a class. Okay, I do have a video that says how do you select your mentors and your referee. Ne? Go look at that video. So what I want you to check in that video, guys, did you subscribe, Mar? I will pause this class and wait for you guys to subscribe. Guys, did you go to Inspire the Next Movement on YouTube channel and subscribe? Because what I do have, guys, I don't like, I'm really spending my time and everything to help you. So we can help each other here. You guys go watch the videos. I don't know why you don't subscribe. You must subscribe. Sorry, Njabulo has actually sent a message. Okay, so Njabulo is struggling with his mic. So hopefully by the time we get to the end of my presentation.
It's this level, I'm here now.
Oh, okay, you are sorted now. This is beautiful. So because I've started my presentation, then let's fine. Let me continue with mine and then we will take yours after. Ne?
No problem.
Okay, just email it to me in the meantime, Nenjabul.
I've already sent you the email. I'm not sure if...
Lovely.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to say to you, I think I was talking to the other Njabulo who's logged in as Siabong. So what you need to do, Njabulo, go to the YouTube channel that is called How to Select a Mentor and Referees. What you need to observe there is per category, there's different requirements. So if, for example, you are PRNG, it asks you to have 2 registered persons as referees. Now, what this means is that it doesn't necessarily mean that you must only have 2. It just says the registered people must be minimum 2. So if your current mentor is no longer registered, you need to still use that person because that is the person who's going to confirm that the training that you underwent was actually efficient or beneficial, and that you are somebody who's ready to be PRN, you are somebody who's ready to be promoted, because normally PRN goes hand in hand with promotions. So you can still use that person, but obviously in terms of the minimum requirements of registered people, it might put you in a bit of an uncomfortable situation, But
Okay,
I mean, if you don't have another registered person, or if you can't meet the 2, the requirement of 2, because you will see for PR technologist, I think the requirement is 3. I think technologist, technician, the requirement is also 3. Please go and look at the YouTube video because it will give you exactly the number that is required per category. Are you happy with that, Njabulo?
Yeah, maybe. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to move on now. Yeah, because I don't think, don't forget to lower the hand after you ask a question, just lower the hand to avoid confusion on my side. Okay, so now I'm going to sort of move on, and I don't want to really dwell on this because these are things we've spoken about countless times. So what you guys should be understanding, this is linked to the jargon that you should be using when you are writing the report. ECSA stipulates 5 levels of responsibilities, and each level of responsibility has a clearly defined definition. So what I want you guys to know is that when you are writing your engineering report, please try to not use level of responsibility A, B, or C. So in other words, what I'm trying to say to you guys is when you write your report and you say to the reader, I was assisted, you are literally then talking about this. You are saying you are under close supervision. This cannot be the case. By the time you want to be registered as PRN, you have to be somebody who is responsible. When you are responsible, you are not somebody who is guided. You can work independently. So what I want you guys to understand is in the TRs, you can use these things because obviously in the TR, you are being taught the different activities. But the minute we talk about the engineering report, guys, try as far as possible to use these 2 definitions, D and E. D is talking about contributing, and you will see really. So what I've done for you guys in this presentation is just shown you which outcomes can you be at level D. It's outcome 2, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the outcomes where you can be at level D. And I'm just gonna zoom in on, for example, outcome number 2. The reason why outcome number 2 can be at level D, guys, is because when we are solving problems, these solutions to the problem are there. They're on the internet, they're in textbooks. So really what you need to be doing in terms of your registration is showing the reader that when you solve problems, you consider all the different options that are available and you apply sound engineering judgment in choosing the preferred option. The preferred option is the one with the most benefits, obviously. Now, the core outcomes, guys, that are not negotiable in terms of level of responsibility. Level of responsibility, the highest level is level E, where you are deemed to be somebody who is performing. Now, when you are performing, you are somebody who is responsible, but you are not accountable. We are all understanding accountability comes with signing off those design reports, signing off the work. Obviously, if you are not yet registered, you cannot sign. But literally what you are doing at that point is you are discharging your duties at the level of a registered person. The only difference between you and a registered person is that you are not accountable. Please, guys, let's understand it as that. Now, when we talk about the outcomes, outcome 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10, they are not negotiable. Those outcomes have to be at level E. And you will go, oh, excuse me. When you read the 11 outcomes, you will notice that these outcomes that need to be at level E are actually the ones that are core to engineering. So please, 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 before you even start writing your report, please make time to understand what the 11 outcomes are. For this slide, all I want you to observe is that outcome number 1, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are non-negotiable. You have to do them at level E. Now, let me tell you another thing that's killing candidates, and obviously candidates are probably not aware of this. When you write your report, right, you can very well say to the reader, I am responsible at level E. But what you need to be conscious of is the person who's your referee is somebody who verifies what you have written. If your referee deems you to be at level D and you deem yourself to be at level E, obviously there's going to be a problem. So I want you guys to be fair to yourselves and really, really look at this thing the way, call a spade a spade. If you are responsible, if you are performing, yes, you are performing, but just be aware that if you just find it convenient to write in the report that I am performing, your mentor is your referee, not the mentor, because the referee is the person who says to ECSA, yes, we can register level, no, we can't register level. Don't lie about your level of responsibility, because your referee is going to, if he was actually supervising you, he's going to say it in that report. No, this person is operating at level D, not level E. Go for it. We've got a hand. Let me try and find the hand quickly. Oh, yeah, just unmute. Okay. What is your name? Zikolile. Zikolile, ne? Go for it, Zikolile.
Thank you so much. I just want to ask something about the referee.
Yes.
In my case, for the first year of my training,
Yeah.
when I came out of university, I got to this training,
Yeah.
and I had my supervisor at that time.
Yeah.
He's also my referee now. My question is, at this particular time, I was still being exposed and assisting and level C.
Yes.
And then by the time I left that organization and moved to another construction, because I was working on the design office then they moved me to construction, to expose to work on the construction site. So
Okay.
so now my question is, my referee, which he was my supervisor on the first years, or my first year in the training,
Yeah.
probably would say that I'm on level C and
Yeah.
D.
Yeah.
So how does that, should I use him then as my referee, or must I just forget about him then? Hello?
My darling, I'm with you. Yeah, so let me explain this, ne? So one of the crucial things with regards to registration is the fact that by the time you get registered, ne, you have to be somebody who is performing. So now, obviously, what it sort of tells us as candidates, who's that who's unmuted? Sorry, please mute yourself. Guys, can I kindly ask that you mute yourself because it does give interference on this side for the recording. So what it does say to us, ne, Zikolili, is that obviously the people that become your referees is people who have evidence that you moved from level C to level E. So now it works very good if you trained in the same company and you became responsible in the same company. Obviously, when you start changing companies, what I would do in your case is I would probably use that supervisor or that mentor for the TERs. I would not use that person as a referee because what a referee does is somebody who actually gives confirmation that you are performing. So rather don't use that person because that person is definitely going to say the candidate was level C and that's going to fail you. So guys, please pay attention to that. When you are choosing the referee, go for a referee that you know has evidence of you being a performing candidate. So I'll make an example with myself. I don't know if this is stupidity or what. I've been in one company for like donkey years, since 2006. Not even 2005. I've been working for ESCOM. So obviously, for me, let's say, for example, I was registering now after 16 years. So I do have people that have trained me when I arrived, but those same people have seen me ending up doing those activities they taught me and running with the activity without any supervision. That person is totally 100% to use. A person that you left contact with when you are still participating, don't use that person as a referee. You use that person as somebody who's going to sign the TR, because that person is going to confirm that, yes, they did teach you how to design a foundation, how to water, what. So you must use that person as a supervisor. A supervisor is somebody who signs off the TR. Don't use that person as a referee, because a referee is somebody who says to, so before even the assessor at ECSA reads your report and decides if you are adequate or not, the person who is called the referee is the first point of contact that tells ECSA that, no, Zikolile does apply herself at the level E, which is she is performing. So I think you are happy with that, Nezikoli. Don't use that person because that person taught you something. By the time you were doing that activity at level E, you were no longer with that individual. So rather get that individual to sign the TR. Are you happy
Thank you
with that?
so much. Yes, thank you so much.
Welcome, my darling. Okay, so this class is about the case study. But you know, I always try to make the class as beneficial as possible, because if I jump straight to the case study, then we leave these loopholes everywhere. So I'm going to move off this slide and take it that everybody is happy. Okay, there are people still to be admitted. Yo, these people are gonna miss out because now I'm not looking at my. Okay, that's fine. So let's now move on to the talking about the. So today we are doing a case study. Ne? Before I even talk about the case study and what the candidate has done in the case study, I want to just talk to you guys about the golden rules. Ne? These golden rules are linked to how to write the report. How to write the report and what you write in the report is very important. I've already said in the previous slides, what you write in the report has to be content that addresses the 11 outcome. There is no time for you to write anything else that is not addressing an 11 outcome. Then I also said to you guys, when you are writing the engineering report, you do not talk about activities that are done about other people. The engineering report is evidence of your competence. So everything you write in there is about me. I designed, I evaluated, I investigated, I adjudicated. The minute you write a sentence and it forces you to talk about somebody else, label, me and label, about that sentence, because already it means you are being supervised by somebody else. I'll leave it there. The general rule that I want you guys to take home from today's class is the following. When you are writing the engineering report, ladies and gentlemen, you do not introduce new content in the engineering report. Everything you write in the engineering report has to be referenced to some TER. I repeat. When you are writing the engineering report, you don't suddenly sit there and say, oh no, yes, there's this piece that is so juicy, let me add it here. Everything you write in the engineering report has to be referenced to some TER. Remember what I said, in the TERs, there's typically about 6 of them. In one TER, you're learning something, you are discharging something, you are learning something, you are, so obviously as you are training, you are learning different activities. Some you are learning, some you are responsible, some you are half responsible. You follow my logic. Obviously, by the time you write the engineering report, you are pulling the different pieces from the TERs where you are responsible at the relevant level. So remember we spoke about those outcomes where you have to be at level E. So then when you are writing, you pull all the evidence that is in the engineering report from some TER, guys. You do not add any new information in the engineering report. Go for it, Zikolile. Go for it, Zikolile.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to ask the question that you just confirmed, that we're not allowed to put anything new from the report. We must take from the TRs only.
Definitely. In fact, a good practice is to tell the reader, as stated in TR6, TR4, because remember the 11 outcomes come in a different level of responsibility. Guys, what I want you to also, sorry, I need to say this, ne? Let me just go back to the previous slide. This is very important. Okay, so what I've said to you guys is I recommend that every thing you write in the engineering report is either at level D or level E, ne? But if you go to my, so I'm trying to think which class is that. There's a class that I did in partnership with SAICI. I think that class is called the EA appraisal. Please go look at that class. Because in that class, I'm going to tell you each outcome, I'm going to tell you exactly what is the level of responsibility that is required. I want to show you something. For example, if we go to group C, guys, we all know that impact of engineering activities is mostly like environmental activities. It's impacts, it's environmental impact, social impacts, impact to animals. So you will see that if you look at that video, something like outcome 6 doesn't actually need you to be at level D. I think even level C is adequate. Because normally what happens with outcome 6, I'm going to use myself as an example because it's very difficult to address you in your personal space and capacity. So because I'm somebody who designs power lines, normally what I do when I do outcome 6, I will take an EIA report. This is an environmental impact assessment report where I'm going to extract all the impacts. And really what ECSA wants you to know is that they want you to recognize what any engineering activities got impacts, and they want you to really address those impacts while you are designing. In engineering, we don't have the luxury of when something is built, then we correct it. You can't correct when something is built. So really, if you go to that presentation, you will see that outcome 6, I think even at a responsibility level C it's okay. Because ECSA does not expect you to go do an EIA by yourself. Taking the information that has been done by other professionals, which is your environmentalist and all of those people, is adequate. I'm going to move away from that. The second golden rule that a lot of people are making a mistake with, people are talking too much about the design, the project. They are focused on what the project was about, No, the engineering report is about your contribution. You have to talk about your exact contribution, because why? Remember, ER is evidence. It's where you are giving evidence to prove that you are competent. Guys, I want you to understand that the engineering report is evidence of your competence. As such, you only write about things that prove that you are competent. Don't do this thing of mentioning other people's work. Now, obviously, guys, when you are concerned with Group A, which is the solving engineering problems, first outcome is investigating it. Second outcome is the solution to the problem. What I want you to be, and which is a mistake a lot of people make, you have to mention the software you used to do the simulation, or you have to mention firstly, you mention whether it was software you used. So in other words, you got to the answer via simulations, or you did a manual calculation. If you did a calculation, we all know that calculations are based on some law, some theory, and some fundamentals. So what I'm trying to say to you guys, that is literally outcome 3. So it is not actually physically possible for you to solve outcome 1 without using outcome 3. So when you are busy writing there, please say to the reader, I manually calculated whatever. You will see if you look at the technician's report, there are places where they're even going to ask you which theory from your qualification did you use to solve the problem. That's when you're going to state it. For those who are PRN, it's very difficult to really. So when you are PRN, when you write a paragraph, normally what happens with one paragraph, it will cover like 4 outcomes. Because you will say, the problem was the following, and then I used the following to solve the problem. So as part of that, I am urging you to mention the software. Once you say the software name, the person who's going to read your report, they're in your same discipline, they're in the same category, they're going to know. If you say, I use PLS CAD to do sorry, who's unmuted? I'm going to have to unfortunately start kicking people out. Guys, please don't do this. It's not necessary to unmute yourself. So what you need to be doing, guys, if you, like for example, I'm electrical. If I say to somebody, I used a PSSE to calculate the fault level, that person automatically knows. PSSE is a software tool that is drawn, it is developed using theory. It's very important for you to tell the reader what software or which manual calculations you have done. These things are the things that prove that it's an engineering problem. If the problem can be solved without applying some theory of it, it's not an engineering problem. Finish and clear. Another thing that I want you to understand, guys, please bear with me. We are talking about the engineering report here. How you build your competence, yes, is important for ECSA, but your evidence of your competence is more important, because even somebody who wants to employ you tomorrow wants to know, what are you competent at doing, right? So what I want you guys to understand is that you only write the experience that shows off your competence. And the golden rule that you need to be doing is you are choosing your most complex experience where you are responsible at the correct level. Guys, remember we have that thing that says which level of responsibility. So when you are writing your engineering report, there is no need for you to use 4 projects to prove a competence. Per competence, you can just choose 1 project where it is the most complex evidence that you have. Treat this thing kind of like an award where you are nominating yourself for excellent work. So for each outcome, go and choose your most complex experience where you are the responsible person. Another myth that people have in industry, they say, oh, you know, this one here, and that's why I put it in red. They say, oh, I don't have 1 project that can address the 11 outcomes. Guys, there's no such rule. There is no need for you to use 1 project to address all 11 outcomes. You can address each outcome using an independent project. And this actually shouldn't be saying project, it should be saying problem. The right word is problem. So excuse me here. I will actually correct this. Let me correct, see if I can correct it while we are. Okay, I can't correct it. I'm struggling to exit. This should be an independent problem. So you can use each outcome, you can address it using an independent problem. The reason I say this, guys, is because you will see that in some projects, you get on board when the problem is already clearly defined, they just need a solution. Some projects, you need to define the problem. So there's nothing wrong with you using different projects problems to address the 11 outcomes. Another thing that you need to be doing, and this one really is not a good thing. When you are using acronyms, guys, you need to define them first, because you will be surprised how an acronym in your company means one thing, and to the assessor who's reading your report, it means another thing. So what I always say to candidates is this: the first time you use that acronym, just define it. And then for the rest of the other times when you use it, the reader already knows what you are referring to. Don't just go and then use an acronym, because every company does have their own culture and things that they adopt. Another thing that you guys are doing that is very incorrect. So I think in the last 12 months, I think I've reviewed about 60 reports of people, obviously, that are struggling to write it, people that are in abeyance, people that have been declined, and I always say to guys, if you are not sure about how you've written or what you've written, please rather contact me. Don't go to ECSA and then get declined. This decline just really demotivates people. Another thing that I've noticed that is really a challenge is, when you are writing technical documents, guys, you need to write full sentences. So what people do is they use it. It was, what is it? You must rather say what, because remember, the person who is reading the report was not with you when you did the work. So the minute you see yourself using it, stop yourself and ask yourself, what am I talking about? Same as they. When you are writing the engineering report, actually, you shouldn't even be using they, except if you talk about outcome 4 or 5, because that's where outcome 4 is managing engineering activities. Obviously, an activity is going to be made up of multidisciplinary professionals, then you can talk about they. But what I encourage you to do is don't use they, rather say who. If you are referring to an environmentalist, if you are referring to a surveyor, rather mention what those people are. Because, the person who's reading your report, if you really get somebody who is very strict, they're going to stuck on what is it? What is they? So don't do that. I want you to take this very seriously. The minute you see an it in your report, just cancel that it and replace it with the actual thing that you are talking about. The minute you see they, also remember that actually when you are writing the ER, everything's is about what you have done, right? So the only outcome that's going to need you to talk about they, it's probably going to be outcome 4 and 6. Because outcome 6, the input comes from other professionals. But all I'm saying to you is don't use they. Rather say, in fact, if you are lazy to just type who they are, rather say multidisciplinary if you are lazy. But rather, it's very good to say who they are, because it also shows the reader, like in terms of managing engineering activities, how broad is that? And then also, this is a very good rule for all of us to follow, regardless of our registration process. This is just a rule to follow when you are in engineering. When you write a report, the methodology you follow to get to an answer needs to be clear. So when the person is reading it, remember the person reading it is in your category, is in your discipline. They have to be able to go redo that whatever without calling you. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is when you write, please be clear. Your methodology needs to be clear. And with that report, actually, because you're addressing the 11 outcomes, well, everything you write becomes clear. So just pay attention to that. So the reason I'm saying a clear methodology is like the way you sequence things, it must be logical. It must be in a logical thing that A leads to B, B leads to C. I can't do D without A and B, That's what I mean by clear methodology. Now let's just talk about the lessons learned from the actual case study that we are sitting with today. So Njabulo is here. I trust Njabulo is still online. So one of the things that Njabulo didn't do properly in his report is that, okay, so now I need to be moving around and muting people. Okay, now I'm gonna probably start kicking people out. If you unmute yourself and you don't have a question to ask, I'm sorry, I'm gonna need to kick you out. So what Njabulo did in his report, which is probably something that obviously also as a candidate he's not aware of, because this process does actually need you to have a mentor, somebody who corrects you when you do these things. The ER is evidence of your competence. So the word evidence implies that it is something that has already happened. So when you write the report, guys, it has to be past tense. I designed, I investigated. And this I've seen a lot in reports I've read, where people are tempted to write the project like they are doing it now. You can't do that, guys. It is evidence of your competence. So if you are using it as evidence, it means that you have already done it. I'm going to remove you, sir. I've just muted you and you've unmuted yourself. Okay, if you unmute yourself one more time, I have to kick you out. I don't have a choice. So what you need to do, guys, is the following. When you are writing this thing, at all points, you need to be conscious of the fact that this is evidence of your competence. So you have to write it. I did that thing. The thing was done already, because you are telling the reader, I say I can do this thing because yes, I have done it and it was successful. Njabulo, take notes on that. Ne? Everything you write is past tense. There's no, so what you will notice when you write past tense, you cannot say investigating, designing, because designing means you're doing it now. In this report, it has to be designed. I designed, I investigated, I decided, it's past tense. Let's just all be conscious of that. Now, the other thing that Njabulo has done, so I will briefly just put up the report when we are finished with this presentation, is that when you read outcome 1, which is the outcome that actually fails a lot of people, Njabulo has spoken about how he interpreted the instruction, but there is no mention of how he received the instruction and in what format it was. What is it? Was it a URS? What was it? You have to tell the reader, I received a user requirement specification, or I received, I don't know, in civil engineering, what is it that you guys use to receive the instruction? But what is important for you to talk about is the instruction, how you received it, and the associated inputs. Guys, you will see that outcome 1 is based on interpreting and investigating. You cannot define something unless you investigate, right? So what you need to be saying in that outcome 1 is the associated inputs, right? Now I've given you guys examples. So for me, I'm saying when I design a power line, I get a user requirement specification from planning. Planning tells me we need a 400 kV line from Gauteng to Tzaneen. Now, the associated inputs that I also receive as part of me defining the problem, clearly defining the problem, it might be as-built drawings, it might be designs, it might be specification. I don't know what it is, but I'm saying to Njabulo, you need to mention how you received that instruction. Was it verbal? Was it a written thing? What other documents came with that instruction? Because you cannot investigate unless you've got inputs, right? Isn't it? Then further, I want you guys to take this home. When you are interpreting, so also when you write your report, guys, you have to use words like analyzed, evaluated, investigated. You are getting these inputs, and for you to clearly define the problem, what happens? You need to go to site and firstly verify. Guys, you need to do this. Don't go, and I'll make you a very good example. With power lines, when you use Google, you go and you look at the Google map, it looks like the servitude is clear. But when you actually drive to site, you find that there's a distribution line there. Sometimes you even find that somebody has put up a windmill there. So when you are getting something, in terms of engineering project, especially infrastructure. You need to analyze the inputs that you receive, and whatever once you are done with a desktop study, you need to go verify this on site. Ne? And then obviously, what is crucial about outcome one is your findings. Somebody gave you something, and normally the person who gives you that is not an engineering person. It's a project manager, it's just a client who says, oh, my pipe is not giving me water, what is the problem? So it is your job to take all the available information, analyze it with the goal of interpreting it, and then reporting to the client what are the findings. Now, a big mistake that people do when they address outcome one, and this is why they are failing. When you are investigating, there must be challenges, impacts, and risks that you are going to discover. Now, I'm giving you an example here, guys. Remember, we are all independent. We don't do the same thing. We are all in different area of competence. That's why it's very important for me to give you guys examples. So I am saying here, when you are solving a problem, some of the challenges, impacts, and risks that you may run into is if you are building an infrastructure, there may be existing infrastructure where you are trying to build yours. So as an example, I will use power lines because obviously that's what I do. I'm trying to put a line between Mpumalanga and KZN. As I put this line, I'm going to run into railways, I'm going to run into existing roads, I'm going to run into wetlands, I'm going to run into pipelines. So it is very important for you to tell the reader what are the challenges that you have actually encountered when you're solving the problem. This is very important for people who are actually PRNG. Because for technician and technologist, you will see if you go to the template actually asks you a specific question. They say, tell us about X. So actually, when you are in that those two categories, that your job becomes easier. For the other guys who are PRNGs, please be conscious of, because outcome 9, which is applying sound engineering judgment, it comes in when you show these challenges and impacts that you have encountered. Now, another thing that people are doing that is a very, very big mistake. Once you have analyzed and you have some findings, now, when you are looking at the possible available methods of solving that problem, because now the problem, unless you are obviously in the technician category, because the problems you solve are clearly defined problems, right? So if you are in that category, yes, you can very well have one obvious way of solving the problem. But for the other categories, what I need you to understand, guys, is that at the time you are investigating to define the problem, what automatically happens is that you are going to identify possible solutions. What I am saying to you guys is try as far as possible. It's not always feasible, depending on what problem you are writing about. But if it is possible, try and make option 1 do nothing. Do nothing means you leave the status quo as it is. Then how you eliminate option 1 is to tell the reader, I cannot do option 1 because option 1 endangers the people and the environment and the following. But a good practice to do is that you are going to highlight all the different options that can solve that problem. And then by the time you come to outcome 2, outcome 2, you are telling the reader your preferred option. Okay, somebody has typed something. Okay, so sorry guys, I'm just reading the level. Okay guys, please don't use the chat because you are here. Rather unmute and tell me of the do you want to let them? Okay, so rather please unmute because my eyes are very bad. Sometimes when I have to read these things, I can't even see actually now. So what I wanted to say to you guys is that obviously when you're investigating, you're going to come across all these different possible solutions. What is important by the time you come to outcome 2? Outcome 2 is the solution to a problem. By the time you come to outcome 2, you have to have the preferred option. Now I'm just showing you guys, if you move from a variety of possible solutions to the preferred solution, where is it? Where did I type it? Okay, I don't know where I typed it. Identify possible solutions. Okay, so I'm still on outcome 1. I see why. So now you've got a variety of solutions that you can apply to solve the problem. So what I was saying to you guys is when you are then working your way towards the preferred solution, these are the aspects that you should be considering. Obviously, you're going to compare cost, quality, constructability, maintainability, reliability, sustainability. From all those, let's say typically you will see in each project, you will have about 4 options. Obviously, the preferred option is normally the one that is cost effective. Né? It's going to be the optimal one. It's going to be the more efficient one. So normally when I'm saying these things, I try and also give you an example because it sticks with you if I just give you an example of what I'm referring to. So now, by the time you come to option 2, ne? Sorry, outcome 2, I keep saying option 2. Outcome 2, ne? You have these options, you have decided which option is the one that is going to be optimal for your project. Ne? I wanted to talk a little bit about outcome 9. Outcome 9 is the one that says apply sound engineering judgment. Guys, I want to tell you this. The reason why a lot of people are failing is because you cannot actually show off sound engineering judgment unless you are comparing things. You have to compare and evaluate. And when you are evaluating, what are you looking at? You are looking at advantages, disadvantages, risks, and associated impacts. And obviously what you do when you look at the alternatives, you want to get to the preferred one. And really, what is the preferred one? It's going to be the solution with the least impacts. And in terms of risk, I want you guys to understand that a risk is something that is mitigated. You cannot take away a risk 100%. So normally when you are addressing a risk, you are going to assume some probability. You say the probability of this thing happening. Okay, I want to just find a good example that I can use that will stick with you guys. So obviously, let's, for example, look at Japan. Eh? At some point, Japan had a problem with the tsunami. So now what they do when they build their power stations, they actually build it to withstand a tsunami. But obviously, building to withstand a tsunami is going to be a very costly exercise. So what do? They're going to assume the probability of that thing happening. They're going to say this thing, you know, happens once in every 30 years. I don't know. I'm just making you an example. So when you are dealing with risk is mitigated. And when you mitigate a risk, you assume some probability. And normally, you don't even have to worry about this, guys, because this is taken care of in standards. When you read a standard, it's already going to tell you. The return period of this is so much. It's going to tell you the wind speed, because these standards are designed for conditions that are prevailing in South Africa. I just wanted you to understand that it is actually not possible to design something that is going to be risk-free. When it comes to impacts, you minimize an impact as far as possible because engineering projects make people's lives easy, but at the same time, they impact people's lives. So it's just not possible to say, I'm going to do a project and not impact people. Even if you do build a road that's going to make people's lives easy, at the time you are building the road, you are going to inconvenience people in terms of traffic, their traveling time to work. So what you need to be understanding about impact is that when you are choosing the preferred option, it's the one with the least impact. Guys, I think you are with me. So now, this is very important to understand, ladies and gentlemen. When you are investigating, you clearly define what the engineering problem is. At that point, once you are clear of all the circumstances of this problem, you will see what are the available options that I can use to solve this problem. Now, what I want you to understand is that obviously when you are busy with outcome 1, you are going to tell the reader of the different options that you have considered. By the time you come to option 2, ladies and gentlemen, option 2 is problem solution. So when you talk about outcome 2, you are talking about the preferred option. Of all those 5 that I had considered, this is because that's the one that has solved the problem. Remember, this thing happened in the past. It's evidence of your competence. So in outcome 2, you are talking about the actual solution that you have applied. A lot of people make that mistake. Now, I want to tell you this again. If we are talking about outcome 9, which is the outcome that fails a lot of people, the reason why people fail is because you cannot show off sound engineering judgment unless you compare things. And the only thing that gives you an advantage to compare and evaluate different things is to have options. Because when you have options, you look at the advantages, disadvantages, risks, and impacts of those options. I'm also using the word alternative because I see in the technician template, they use the word alternative. In PR range, generally, we like to use the word options, you know, that's what I use in my class. But options and alternatives are one thing. So it is very important for us to understand as we are seated here that outcome 2 is a problem solution. So you talk about the actual solution that you applied. So then in this list of your alternatives, it is the preferred option. Guys, please understand that. Another thing that I need to explain, even when you go into your preferred option, guys, there's still alternatives. If I'm building a line in to electrify a new development, right? In outcome 1, I'm going to look at obviously what infrastructure is available around the area, all of what is the space that's available, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm gonna say to the reader, oh, to electrify this area, I can build an overhead power line, I can build an underground cable. Now, depending on the prevailing conditions, I may decide to build an overhead power line. If it is a rural area, generally there's space and the space is cheap, unlike in an urban area. Then I go for building an overhead power line. Still, as part of outcome 2, where I prefer to build an overhead power line, what happens in there? I can still decide, is it a wood pole, is it a steel pole? So guys, please understand, depending on the evidence you are using, also inside the preferred option, there can be alternatives. A simple alternative can also be like, oh, I'm building a structure, you know, maybe the type of steel you are using. Or let's talk about maybe a road that's going to carry traffic. How robust that road is going to be determined by the vehicles that are going to drive on that road, right? So in terms of the strength and the widths and the this and the that, the material, it's going to be, it can be this thing and then you eliminate it because it doesn't meet the following. It can be that thing. So even inside outcome 2, it always works better if in your preferred option, you still tell the reader that I considered this, but because trucks are driving here, I cannot actually use this. It works better because that is actually the thing that shows off outcome 9. So you will see that when you are in the PR range category, it is not possible to write about outcome 1 and 2 without touching outcome 9, without touching outcome 7 and 3. Because how do you solve a problem without opening theory? How do you solve a problem without complying to standards? So please go look at those case studies. There are 2 case studies on the YouTube channel. They are both PR range. Go look at them. The nice thing that I like about the case studies, and this is like really not something that I planned, but really what happened with the case studies is that case study 1, please guys listen to this because obviously this is not in the slide. So case study 1, we had the benefits that the candidate literally used one project to address all the outcomes. Case study 2 is a good example for you to observe. How can you use different projects different problems to address different outcomes? So the person who did case study 1 was fortunate to have a project that could address all the outcomes. And it's very easy for the civil discipline to do that because you guys normally do the designs and then you go to site, you oversee the site activities and you do all these daily reports and you even go as far as managing contracts. So obviously there's nothing wrong. If you do have one project that can address all the 11 outcomes, it's great. But the beautiful thing about case 2 is that it shows you how to use the a different problem to address some outcomes. So you don't have to use one problem. And then also I wanted you guys to understand this. If you've had the privilege of managing a project, that is additional, it's a bonus. The ECSA requirement is to manage engineering activities. So if you have had the privilege to manage engineering projects, that is a bonus. One thing that I want you guys to do to add some spice to yourself is if you have, like, for example, your civil projects are very expensive. So let's say, for example, you have a 50 million rand project. Do go and mention how much of that 50 million was under your responsibility. So, you know, the full project is 50, but maybe the civil activities that you were overseeing are like 5 million. So you can, it's very perfect. For outcome 4, it's perfect if you say to the reader, I managed a budget of 4 million, you know, and obviously you're going to say something more about managing it. All in all, ladies and gentlemen, that is my feedback or the tips that I'd like to give you guys when you are writing the engineering report. I think in closing, I just want to say I'm somebody who's very passionate about registration. Really, I'm very passionate because if you see the stats, you would probably also become like me. So I've done a lot of work at ECSA. A lot of work. I mean, there's conferences that I've facilitated amongst universities. I've chaired committees with deans of universities. Literally in industry, I've met probably almost anybody who's passionate about mentoring in the profession. So this is just a slide that says inspire the next. So what I want to urge you to do, ladies and gentlemen, is today you have attended a class, you have probably learned something new that you didn't know before this class. Now, my philosophy is if you do learn something that empowered you, please share it with the next person. There is no need for you to, you know, because these days a lot of people are coming to me, they've been declined, and they're like, Lebo, why didn't I find you earlier? And generally, I mean, sometimes as people, we don't share with our colleagues. So guys, please share whatever you've learned today. Please tell your colleagues about the channel. There's literally zero money to be made on that channel. You know, if you watch another video of mine where we talk about the benefits of being registered, you will find my story there of why I do mentoring. The reason I do mass mentoring and when I do these classes, it's literally free of charge, is because I also have something to pay back to the country, you know, because for me, I did my qualification via scholarship that was awarded from the government. So as a person, you always have to see what is the best way that you can apply back to the country. I've got children and I don't want my children to grow up in a country that is a mess. We are already having a shortage of engineering professionals. What I'm saying to you guys is you have the qualifications, just please go get that title. So Inspire the Next Movement brought you this class. And yeah, if really you are somebody who still has a lot of questions, please go and follow that YouTube channel. It's called Inspire the Next Movement. Zitwalile, I see you've got your hand up. Go for it. Go for it, Zitwalile.
Sorry, I pressed that button by mistake.
Oh, by mistake. Okay, perfect. Okay, so at this point, all right, so I'm trying to get rid of something here. Oh my God, what have I done? Oh, sorry, sir. Let me just try and get back to the meeting. Okay, apologies, yeah, because this laptop I'm using is an old laptop. So when I press stuff, I tend to terminate. Yeah, okay. So I just wanted to say, before I take your hand, sir, I will take your hand just now, ne? I just wanted to explain, Guti, okay, for this, which is really something that I try to do with all the case studies that I've loaded on my channel, ne? I always really prefer it if the person who is the owner of the case study really sharing the lessons that they have learned as a candidate, because I've reviewed the report, I've left the comments, and then I wanted the candidate to really share with you, because you will see from the point of view of a candidate, he's going to probably cover different angles to what I've covered in this presentation. So I think he's going to present to us shortly, but before we go to his presentation, let me just take the hands or comments that are available right now. So who had the hand up? Okay, it's Njabulo. Go for it, Njabulo.
Njabulo, yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
Hello?
no, Siyabonga. I need to Siyabonga is logged in as, but I think you are logged in as Siyabonga, but you said you are Njabulo, ne?
Yes. I have a quick question here. On the category of a PR engineer,
Yes.
you've been doing, let's say you write a spec. Okay, I'm working for Prasa. So there's a project, I write a spec. Let's say we are changing an underground line through an overhead 11 kV. Now, yeah, so do I mention that I wrote a spec?
You have to.
Like, how do I make it complex?
No, remember you writing a spec. Okay, so I've just gone and done something else now that I did not actually want to do. No, sir, writing a spec is literally interpreting the results of a design, right? Which is basically the solution to a problem. So in short, I mean, you saying to somebody, I can actually design this thing and I can specify it, because a design is hypothetically, so, okay, let me use power lines because that's what I do. So even if I do design, I'm a design leader for designing a power line, right? There is civil aspects, there's mechanical, there's electrical, right? See ya? I, as an individual, I'm telling somebody that I can spec a conductor, I can spec an insulator. So it's important for the reader to understand your competence. So in your case, it's going to be, you created a spec for a foundation or whatever. What are you dealing with? Water or bridges or what?
No, it's you know, Prasa, people are stealing cables on the.
Oh, that's railway, ne? Prasa is
railway.
Prasa is railway, ne?
Yes.
So, sir, I don't want us to have this class is taking too long. So let me make you an example. How you make your work complex, ne? As a high level example, ne? Let's say in your case, yes, for example, the cable has been stolen, ne? Now your job is to go and make sure that this rail is operational again, ne? See ya? Well, Njabulo. Are you Njabulo, right?
Yeah, yes.
So for you, the complexity is going to come from the following, Jabulo. So the cable is stolen, it's already missing. But because the cable was stolen by humans, ne, what does this say to you? What does this teach you? When you are developing a new solution, you are going to now be conscious of theft. You are going to now try and get a solution that might be having some anti-theft measure. Another thing that can make it complex in Jabulo is the following. The cable that was stolen there was installed 10 years ago. So if you are going to replace it, obviously technologies are changing, right? There might be a better technology for that same price or whatever that's got a higher capacity. I don't know what the situation is. Also, in another case, you might decide, no, this time when we put the cable, we're going to cement it. So that if somebody tries to steal the cable, it's going to be more work because they're going to need to break the cement first. So the complexity is going to come from the different alternatives that you may consider. Because remember, most of the time, even if you do want to replace something with like for like, it's actually not possible to replace like for like. Am I lying?
Yes, yes.
So that's where the complexity comes from. Option one, Jabulo, do nothing. The cable is stolen, we don't have money. Option two, replace the cable with the same exact cable that was stolen. Most of the time, if you are dealing with a power line or whatever, you know, let's talk a distribution line. The load has increased, things like that. So normally you will also look at upgradability. You will say, oh, okay, as much as this thing was built to carry 10 people, because of the development there's now 20 people using it. So at this point, you might replace it with a cable that is higher ratings. These days, things get cheaper because people continuously find different ways of achieving. So the complexity comes from the different alternatives that you will consider to solve the problem. Now, the problem becomes clearly defined when you just decide they stole, so ECSA is an example from my industries, you know. Let's talk copper. They stole a copper cable there, you replace like with like. There's no alternatives. You just say, because they stole a Samsung, I'm gonna replace it with a Samsung. in reality, before you replace the thing, you must look at what other alternatives are there, because there could be something that is much cheaper. We know copper in market it's got a high price, that's why people are stealing it. So maybe there's another material that will do exactly the same function as copper that people cannot steal, because in market it doesn't have much value. Do you see where the complexity comes from?
Yes, I get you.
So as long as you are
Now,
clear.
Now, let's say the solution has come from the company to say, okay, we're replacing a copper with aluminum, and now it's going to be overhead because the guys are digging down.
Yeah.
So we're making it
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. So in that case, my friend, that's why it's very important for you to know the outcomes. So if you get involved in the project when you are already given the solution, né? What it says to you is that you are now addressing outcome 2. You are no longer addressing outcome 1. So when you are addressing outcome 1, my friend, you specifically, it has to be a program where you got involved at the time where you were investigating in order to define what the problem was. So I think you understand it now. So that's why I'm saying to you guys, you need to be very clear when you are writing anything in that report. You have to be very clear on which outcome you are addressing when you are writing that thing. So in this case, my friend, I'm telling you now, if the company has already told you, for example, you are going overhead, you are going aluminum overhead as an example. So now you are more in problem solution, because what you are going to then do as an individual is you are going to probably decide which is the best ACSR conductor or aluminum. Do you see that there's still options within the outcome, within the preferred solution? But be very conscious of which outcome you are addressing. Because if you are addressing outcome 1 is the one that says, I wanted to put my pipe here, but because I've run into a railway, I've run into this, no, I'm going to put it there. So then the options are coming up. The options are coming up. So I think in that case, if the client is, if your employer of the client is giving you a clearly defined solution, so then you would be talking about outcome 2. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So just that's why my guideline to you guys is that when you are writing the ER, you must choose your most complex one, the most complex work you've done for each outcome, guys. It's very important that when you are addressing an outcome, you choose your most complex evidence, because that way, what you are doing is like, you're killing one bird with one stone. The other thing that in the sense of you are the responsible person and also it is the complexities addressed. I want to tell you why this is important. I think a lot of candidates also miss sight of the fact that the reviewer or the assessor has already read your report, guys. So don't have this pressure of wanting to write everything, because what happens if you start rewriting everything in the engineering report, automatically what happens is that you are going to rewrite the TRs. Do you see that? Because evidence in the engineering report comes from the TRs. Now, if you want to use more than one problem per outcome, you are going to rewrite the TR. You can't do it. So you just need to choose the evidence that makes you look the best in the reader's eye. I think you understand it. It's fine. So Njabulo, the other Njabulo, you are happy, Sia / Njabulo.
Yes, maybe.
Okay, perfect. So Njabulo, I'm talking now to Njabulo, the owner of the report. Njabulo, I'm going quickly to my emails because I think you said you sent me your presentation.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, I did.
So
yes.
I just want to download it so that I can put it up for you. Okay, so I'm downloading it quickly. So guys, while this thing is downloading, let me take the liberty to, okay, here I've got it. Enable save. I just want to quickly save it. Just give me a moment, guys. I just want to save it. All right, perfect. Let me just do this, close this. All right, guys, so let me quickly explain. So I want to just also quickly thank Njabulo for volunteering to really use his report for the case study, because obviously, you know, it gets to be scrutinized by people, you know, and it takes really a bold somebody to do that. Thank you so much, Njabulo. So for everybody who's in attendance, what I want you to just observe at the moment is that the previous presentation that I presented was my findings from the report. And actually, when I do the presentation, I do not really like to look at the candidates' mistakes. You know, I like to rather look at holistically what are the errors that our candidates doing. Njabulo, I also wanted to compliment you, because in your report, I think you will see also you will see when I send you a copy of the report that I've reviewed, literally most of the comments are on the core outcome. So it's outcome 1, 2, 3, and I think maybe 9. All the other outcomes, Njabulo killed them. He smashed them. He wrote them like a boss. So at this point, I'm going to display Njabulo's presentation. And what Njabulo is going to be doing in this presentation is giving us, as the audience, the lessons that he has learned from my feedback. This is going to help you greatly, guys. So basically what I'm going to do when I send you the report, guys, don't forget to drop your email in the chat. I only email people who are in class. I will also add in Njabulo's presentation. So Njabulo, I'm going to hand over to you now.
Okay, no problem.
I'm displaying your, I just need to find the, oh my God, just give me a moment. I just need to find the full display. Oh God. So can I get confirmation that you can see it?
Yes, I can see it now.
Perfect, go for it. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Good day, guys. So I got the feedback from my reports, and it's been quite informative. As obvious as you can see, I am part of the civil discipline, but I specialize more in open channel systems. So that is basically the core focus of my engineering report.
Okay. Let me know when you want me to go to the next slide, ne?
Yes, we can go to the next slide right now. Ne?
There we go.
So I have sort of broken up the feedback that I've gotten into the groups which this level has been teaching us around. Like, so my initial feedback, what I took from it was from outcome 1 to 3. For instance, I think I suffered a bit with interpretation. Like, I noted down that I should look at the question in a technical and provide feedback in an informative manner, whereby I am not being vague when I say I received such and such an instruction in this manner, and how I went about in clarifying and achieving more information to probably interpret the instruction. And then the second thing I noted from the 3 outcomes was that when I wrote my information in the reports, I sort of expanded too much on the information to a point where it tended to not be clear. So I think it caused a bit of an ambiguity. So I need to learn to consolidate information, but still being precise and being to the point. The third point, which I picked up from outcome 1 to 3, is my generalization. Sometimes I would speak, but not have a specific reference or an actual scenario that I'm stipulating inside the report, that this is the actual thing that they ask and this is what I'm actually talking about. So I tended to generalize a bit in my report writing, and that is what I still need to focus on. We can move to the next slide if there's no questions.
Okay, so let's allow the guys to ask you questions after you present.
Yeah.
Ne?
Yes,
Sorry,
ma'am.
I'm just gonna go back. Yes, go for it.
Okay, and so with the outcome number 4, I also picked up that there is not much clarity, like as to how not actually number 4, it's actually number 5. Outcome number 5, there is a bit of a lack of clarity because I don't state how I properly presented my point of view. In this regard, it was in manners of design reports and technical drawings. So I didn't state that, and I think now looking back, it sort of leaves my answers open-ended. There's no way of specifically saying that this person is actually stating facts, or is he generalizing also again? And then, sorry, and then the second point being focusing on my personal construction. In that regard, I think I failed to state a bit of what I personally did to grow myself, like knowledge-wise and within my profession. So those were the shortfalls from outcome number 5, which I picked up now. Is there any question, guys? I will take that as a no, and we could probably move to the next slide, Sislem.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect, I'm with you. So let me just move. There we go.
Okay, with outcome number 6 and 7, the same errors came up, generalization. When I listed the impacts of the projects which I'm working on, like when you mention social, cultural, and environmental impact, I think I needed to be a bit more specific in terms of like what are those social impacts, and I needed also to write and state how I worked towards minimizing those impacts. I think what I did is I sort of described them, but vaguely, and then I failed to go in depth in terms of how those impacts affected the project and how we went about in mitigating now the actual impact. So that generalization, I think, also causes like an ambiguity, like it's an open-ended answer, whereby maybe the reader wouldn't be able to pinpoint in exactly what I'm talking about now. And the second thing was writing in full sentences. I just heard you go over that. Yeah, I also suffer from that I don't write in full sentences. I sometimes go for they instead of mentioning like who that person actually is, if it's the community or the community leaders, if it's the various stakeholders, respectively. Like I do not go into depth in that regard. And also the third one is clear definition of acronyms. I used a lot of acronyms, but I just realized after I received comments from Sislebo that there is no actual point within the report where I initially define like those acronyms, like a CLO. It could mean a lot of things to many disciplines, but in the civil discipline, it's a community liaison officer. So that is something also to look at in terms of being as open as you can be towards the reader, and take them as a person probably who has no background information. So yes, is there any question in this regard?
Let's go
Okay.
to the next one.
Okay, I believe this is most probably the last slide. It's a brief overview of outcome 8 to 11. From what I got, there wasn't too much to work on except for 10.2, whereby I needed to provide more examples on ways I obtained advice on matters which fell outside of my experience. And the thing is, there are many examples, but then when you write the reports, I kind of second guessed the amount of information to give. So I only made one example, whereas there are many examples in terms of I got advice from carpenters in terms of like formworks. I got mechanical foremen who would advise on the use of plants. I got advice from the environmental officer with regards to like the bylaws. For instance, when you are doing site clearances, I obtained his advice because I was in Limpopo at the time. So the area which we were in, it is an area which is full of wildlife and a lot of trees, and it's just a nature-filled area. So I needed to know like which trees not to cut, and things like that, and also moving forward, like things that he would most probably have noted on site. Maybe things like dust suppression, I would ask advice from him. But it's things like that which I think I failed to expand on point 2.2. And yes, that is the last slide. And yeah, I'm not quite sure if the guys have any questions.
That is so beautiful, Njabulo. You killed it. Thank you so much. You know, this is like very,
Thank you for.
yeah, Njabulo, I'm so like really proud of you. Firstly, obviously, because I think you're the first case study where I actually asked a candidate to compile a presentation, because I do bear in mind that we are all at different stages. So you will find that some candidates need to refer back. That's why I like to document things. So this was really perfect, my friend. Well done to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so as you can see in Njabulo, let's say you probably didn't meet me and then you submitted that report. What you will observe from that report is that the core outcomes are what was going to probably get you deferred. You are going, not deferred, the right word that they use in the new registration is abeyance. You are going to probably end up in abeyance because you have not addressed the core outcomes, because engineering is about solving engineering problems. And once you don't do justice to those, all those other outcomes are supporting. You saw that, ne? There are
Yes.
outcomes. So I think today we've really done well. I see that we've even actually utilized the 6 hours that we had allocated for this class. So yeah, right now I'm worried about our recording. Yo, guys, if I lose the recording, it's going to be so sad, because we need to have a follow-up class. And actually what I need to do is like go and share this class on the YouTube channel, yabo? So if I can't save it because of the space here, it's going to cause us so much drama. Let's hope for the best, because I was trying to actually see what can I download. I wanted to see what can I delete from my machine to clear space so that we can save this recording. So guys, please allow me to say this, ne? So we've okay, before I actually close this class, because we will have a follow-up class, guys, this is why it's very important for you to subscribe to the channel, because if you don't subscribe, you are not going to have the benefit of seeing the final report. So what's going to happen in the, let me just put up the report, ne? The technician report, just for those who have never actually seen what the report looks like. Okay, I thought I had it open on my machine. Njabulo, just allow me to quickly just open your report. I want for the guys who are still tuned in to at least see what the report looks like. So remember, guys, so here it is. I'm going to display it quickly. I need to display it. Why can I not find it? Is the funny part now. So it means I need to close all these other apps that I have open. Guys, give me a second to just close because on my share screen, I don't see it. I thought it's the only thing that's open on my machine, but seemingly not. Dismiss. I just wanted to quickly show you guys the what the technician report looks like. Maybe it's this one. I don't know. No, that's not the one. Stop sharing. Because it's open on my machine, but I'm struggling to display it. Oh, there, I found it. Okay, guys, can you see it? This is what the engineering report looks like for technicians. Can I get confirmation that you can see it on your side?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So I'm struggling now with my mouse. Okay, I wanted you guys to just see briefly what the technician report looks like. So you will see the first part of the engineering report is just background. Ne? Environment obviously takes you to your area of competence. Then what happens here is that all the outcomes are broken down into specific questions. So ECSA is going to ask you very specific questions. Sir, 1.1, tell us this. 1.2, tell us this. This is actually what does not happen in the PRNG template. If you go to the technologist template, you also see the benefit is that they ask you specific questions. So when you answer, you have to answer the question. So one of the things I forgot to say to everybody who's present today, please read the question specifically and understand it, because this registration is one of those exercises where you only tell what you are asked. You don't go and put things that are necessary. So now I'm going to share this template with you where you are going to see my comments. What Njabulo is going to do for our next class, he's going to take all these comments that I've given him. So you see there where I say what? Njabulo. You see there where I say what, it's probably cases where you've used this and it. Do you see that this? So guys, I'm going to give you this report. I'm going to give Njabulo this report. What Njabulo is going to do for us, he's going to go and resolve all the comments I've given him. So please also pay attention. Anything that you see in red is corrections that I've already made in the report. So when I do the coaching, so I do offer a service of coaching where I read the report and write, correct the writing, use the right language and that. So if the information you've given me is adequate, I'm going to try and add the relevant jargon, so the engineering correct words to be used in the engineering report. I'm trying to find an example. I just wanna, so Njabulo, if you will notice, I think another probably thing, okay, actually it's not you who did it too much, it's somebody else. Writing the information as if it's happening now is something that is not correct. So here Njabulo, just also pay attention to this. When they ask you about law, it normally just also includes the standards that you comply to. So I see you mentioned everything that is linked to impacts, right? So it's your water is literally environmental, public is social, health and safety is humans. So also try and add those technical documentation that you comply to when you are using when you are doing the solution. Another problem that guys you are making is you are abusing capital letters. A lot of people abuse capital letters. You can't in the middle of a sentence have a capital letter for a word like engineer. It just doesn't work like that. And then another thing that I want to warn you about, like if you're talking about a lab, you don't say lab, guys, you say laboratory, because registration checks two things: the ability to write and the ability to speak. So when you go to the interview, what they're going to be confirming there is how do you write. when you go to the EA stage, it's confirmation of how you write. And when you go to the professional review, it's evidence of how you speak. So therefore, I want you to understand that this very report that we are looking at, it is the same report that is going to get verified at the professional review. So there is no reason for you to fail, because if you pass the EA, what it tells you is that what you have written down on paper is adequate. Do you see that, guys?
Yeah.
So when you are preparing the presentation for the PR stage, there's a video also there on my YouTube channel that talks about the professional review. You normally have to prepare a 15 minutes presentation that will tell the reader about all 11 outcomes. So what I urge you to do is, once you have passed the EA, just use this same report. Because the fact that you've passed EA tells you that this report is adequate. I want to then, okay, what I want to do, I'm gonna stop sharing because I'm going to send you guys this, but I will send you a PDF copy of this, and I'm going to ask just like a favor from all of you, and this is very important. When you are doing your report, please bear in mind that this is Njabulo's personal work, so you don't get tempted to try and copy aspects of Njabulo. Maybe even if you're doing the same work as Njabulo, in terms of how you would have written it as an individual, is going to be different. So please, let's just respect that, because that is his intellect. You just need to learn the lesson in terms of things that you should be doing and things you should not be doing, but don't copy the report. Because now it may happen that the person who reads his report and your report at the same time, it's a cut and paste. So that's all I ask, that we just respect Njabulo's IP. At this point, what I want to say is that I'm going to allow us to open the floor for questions, but related to the first round of the class. I think you guys have seen that case study 1's got 3 classes. There are 3 classes that I've loaded on my YouTube channel for case study 1, because that was the first case study I ever did. So we needed to do justice. We did this kind of class where we looked at the original report. Second class, we looked at the candidate lessons learned, what they've corrected. And then the final class, we looked at the final report. Because for me, it's very important for you guys to see 2 aspects: the original report that the candidate gave label, and the final report that, and guys, I need to say this, when it comes to mentoring, I am just somebody who is trying to help you. And this far, of all the people that I've mentored, I haven't had somebody who has failed. So and then when I also say failed, I need to be very specific and say failed the EA, because the EA is the stage where ECSA is going to check that what you have written is correct. So I have not had somebody who has failed the EA, because the EA is where I have actually reviewed your report, made sure you cover the right content. I think from the feedback that we got from Njabulo, we all understand what are the missing aspects from that report. And if Njabulo was put in abeyance, what were the reasons that were going to lead to that abeyance? So those are the lessons that I'm trying for all of you to take home. But because you are obviously in a different industry, you are working with different things, you need to apply these lessons to your work. It's just not possible that we can, okay, when I obviously mentor you, your report, if I read your report as an individual, obviously I'm forced to read your personal work. But when we do these classes that I'm mass mentoring, I obviously have to try and drive the lesson home. I can't necessarily focus on your personal thing. So for now, what I want to do before I end the classes, I just want to ask that I'm going to open the floor for some clarity. If anybody's got some point of clarity from this class before we have the next class. Because what's going to happen in the next class is I'm going to be sending you the report when Njabulo has resolved my comments. Because remember, I tell him this and this is missing. Please, yeah. So typically you will see it is how you are writing and what you are not writing. Most of the time, Njabulo hasn't done it. Some of the candidates put too much information that is irrelevant. You never go to an engineering report and talk about what other people do. because the engineering report is evidence of your competence. Jabulo hasn't done that. He has focused on his particular exact contribution to the project. So the next class, when we have the next class, we are going to be, I'm going to then send you guys the report when Jabulo has resolved my comments, and then we are going to come back here and discuss. I need to understand, Jabulo. So I'm going to, okay, I see somebody has dropped a comment here. How does one get included in the WhatsApp group? Oh yeah, so that one is let me try and see if I can send okay, just give me a moment. What I'm gonna try and see if I can do now is I want to see if I can drop the link. I have two coaching groups, so I'm going to try and enter the meeting as on my phone. And then I'm gonna see if I can just send you guys the link, because it is important. You know, the nice thing about that group is that you can ask anything at any given time, and I'm going to, I coach free on that group, so it doesn't have to be, because some of the people, obviously, if they want to get clear guidance, they have to probably, okay, so I see on this group, we actually have one space left, you know. So I'm on my phone. I'm just gonna try and go to the chat and drop that link. So what I'm gonna urge you guys to do is just keep trying to join, because other people leave, other people join. I've got another group. Maybe let me also share that link, because maybe also in that group, although I don't like sharing the other group, because those people have been on this journey since November. So probably if you come to that group, the problem is that those people are already very well versed with the requirements, you know, because those are the people who've done the masterclass. Those are the people who are in all the classes we hosted during lockdown. So rather try and use the first link. The first link is the group that is new. I think it's about a month or two old. Then there's a class on Telegram, but guys, I don't want to lie to you guys. The class on Telegram, the people who are subscribed there, they never ask any questions. So that group literally is almost dead, because if you don't ask me questions, I can't coach you. So the value is driven from you guys asking questions. So on the first group, which you will see is the second link I shared. That is the group that I created in November. So these people have been there for a year, and literally all of them are either have passed EA, waiting for an interview. Most of them have been registered, because these classes really do help. Okay, somebody says the link is full. Yeah, unfortunately, those groups are full. Yeah, it's a problem. So yeah, and at this point, I don't think there's enough people to create another group. Let me maybe hear from you guys. Do you think there is an opportunity to create? Yeah, both groups are full. I'm fully aware of that. Okay, so let me just ask, guys. At this point, do you think is there enough interest or enough need for us to create another group? I need to get probably direction from you guys, because yeah, now when it ends up being too many groups, but actually I don't mind, because as long as you ask questions, everybody draws value, you know. But the problem starts if you don't ask questions. The minute you don't ask questions, that's where the group is gonna be stuck. So just maybe show me by a show of hands, guys, is there enough interest for us to create another group? Because if there is, then what I'm going to do is I will definitely open another group. But I avoid to open, I mean, this one that I opened not so long ago, it actually got full very quickly, you know. It got full very quickly. I just want to see, okay, I see one person is got there, two people have their hand up. Yeah, this is so like crazy. Okay, let me try and see if I can create a group quickly, so that I send the I want to send the link, and then you guys can at least use that link. So I'm just gonna quickly create another group now. I'm just gonna say PR Tech Civil so that we know which one. I'll change it later. Let me share that link, because guys, let me just also explain this, that as long as you have some point of clarity, ne, just ask on the group. You're on the group, you know, the first group that I had, it was so beautiful, you know, because the candidates were genuinely like, you know, hungry for PR. There were like every day we were busy. We did so much justice to contracts. We did so much justice to all the outcomes just because simply somebody asked. So you will see that if you do ask a question, you will probably never even need me to review your report, because, you know, if you ask me an exact question, I'm going to give you the answer there. I mean, you can see even today, you guys are in class and this is free. You haven't paid anything, but you got so much value. So that's what I do with those groups. In those groups, so I need to just, before I close the meeting, I want to just share this link on the group. Guys, is there any burning question that cannot wait for the next class? If you do have I've just shared the link for the new group that I've created, ne? So you guys can join on that group, and then we can take this thing, because also obviously with joining another group is you've missed the whatever has been shared previously. So I think if we create a new group, it's actually the best way, because everything that starts, you are present in that conversation. So I've shared the link, there it is. Let me just see, is there any, yeah, go for it. Zikolile, go for it. Okay, I think this is an old hand that Sikolile had. Okay, guys, it's late now, so I'm gonna close the class. But before I close the class, remember, I've got your email addresses. I trust that everybody has dropped their email addresses here. I've already copied them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the document. I'm going to send you the original report, Ganjabulo, and then I'm going to send you the report that I have reviewed. Guys, do yourself a favor and try and read the first report without seeing my comments. It's too late now because you've already had the presentation. But still, for the purpose of learning, try and read the original report the way it is, and then try and read the report with the comments. The next class, what we are going to be doing, Njabulo is going to give us a report where he's going to be resolving my comments. We were going to discuss that in the next class. Let me then end the night and say good night. And guys, I wish you the best of luck in your journey. This journey is not a difficult one, but it is one that needs somebody to hold your hand. And that's what I'm trying to do here, you know. I'm taking my time, my resources just to help a fellow South African, because we need to fix our country. We can't be complaining. We have to be what we want to see. We have to start by being the change. The change you want to see, you have to start by being that change. And that's what I'm doing, and I'm instilling it in all of you, because once you get registered, I want you to go and help other people. Guys, can I close the class with that? I thank you so much. So good night, and I'm here praying that this video is going to be able to save on my laptop, because if it doesn't save, we're gonna be in trouble. Okay, guys, good night. I will see you guys in the next class. I will also share in that group, the group that I just opened. Please join that group, because for the next class, I will share the invitation there. So that's what I do with all the groups I've got, because I've got a lot of groups. Like for every masterclass I gave, there's a group. So what I do is if there's an event I'm doing that's free, I'm gonna share in all those groups. So please join the group. Yeah. Thank you so much, Masingita. I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and yeah, and you learned something new, because obviously, as you attend, you will see that at some point you end up so clear on what is required. And that's what I want. I want you guys to get this PR. All right, guys, good night. Night, bye. Thank you, Sbusiso. Bye, guys.